Hello, everybody. I am in a new office, sort of. That's why I wasn't here last week. I wanted to start doing this every week, but last week my office was being torn apart. You can see kind of behind me there, the wall has like insulation goo hanging on it. We had a leaky window here, so to replace it, we had to take the top of the attic off and put new ones on. So the background isn't painted yet, but hopefully it'll still work. I don't have an air conditioner either. That's been taken off and hasn't been reinstalled yet, so it's kind of hot in here. Hopefully it'll be all right. But I'm not going to let that stop me from coding. However, you might hear I have the window open because there's no air conditioner. If that's too loud, that airplane passing over is too loud, let me know in the comments, and I can close the window, and I'll suffer through it. Hopefully it's not too loud on this microphone, but let me know if it's bothering you, if you can't hear me well over the stupid airplanes, just let me know. So today, I don't know how many of you were here last week, or 2 weeks ago, really, when I built a linter for the first time, my first time ever. I followed the little tutorial on the Golang CI Lint blog. Let me pull that up here just for reference, because I'm probably going to be referencing that again today. Where was that? New linters. So I followed this tutorial. Today I want to build a real linter that does something actually useful. So I haven't even started. I haven't written the first line of code. We're going to just start from scratch, and we're going to do it together. So feel free to participate. If you see a mistake, let me know. Let's see here. So my first live stream, I was delinting the Gopher.js package. Gopher.js compiles from Go to JavaScript, so you can run Go in your browser. What I want to do today is build a linter for Gopher.js. So I've actually opened an issue about this on the Gopher.js tracker. Here it is, proposal, add Gopher.js vet tool. And it's based on some of the items in the wiki here. I'll just pull that up for context. So we have some, let me find it here. I think it's here. I'm going to close that window. I'm afraid that airplane is just going to be too loud. I'll just try to suffer through the heat. Okay. I'm not finding the exact thing I wanted. Wasn't here, was it? No. There's a section here in the wiki that talks about some, oh, here it is, tips and gotchas. That's what I'm looking for. So there's a sort of a checklist here of things that can go wrong when you're writing Go code to be compiled to JavaScript. And I thought it would be great if we had a linter that would detect these for us rather than just relying on people's memory, because I've made these mistakes all the time. So my goal is to build a linter to detect these sorts of problems. I hope it's not too hard. I guess we'll find out together. So I think the first step is to create a repository where I can do this work. So I'll just do that here. I am one of the maintainers of the Gopher.js project, so I'll click on the link here for the organization, and then I will create a new repository. And the name is pretty self-explanatory, pretty obvious in this case. It's going to be called Gopher.js vet, and that's named after GoVet, which is the official GoVet tool. This will be the official Gopher.js vet tool. I think that's all I want. I want it to be public, but I think that's the default. I do need to choose a license, although I think I can do that later. What's the license of Gopher.js? I want to be the same. I'm sure it's the Go license. Yeah, I'm just going to copy this directly myself rather than having GitHub do that. So I think I'm ready to go. Let's create that repository. Oh, I need to choose an owner. It should be Gopher.js. All right. All right, we have a Gopher.js vet repository with nothing in it. I hear that mic volume is low. Let me see if I can improve that. Testing, testing. Is that any better? On my side, I'm starting to redline, so I don't want to go too much higher because if I make a noise, it might start clipping, and then you hear static and buzzing. I hope that's better. That's about as loud as I think I can go on this side. So hopefully that's okay. Maybe you can turn up the volume on your side too. I don't know. Am I at least coming up both sides? Both ears. Oh, much better. Good to hear. The first live cast I did, I was only coming out, I think, the left side. I hope that's fixed and remains fixed for today. If that's a problem, let me know. All right. So I have my repo. Let me hop over to my console, and we're going to do a git clone. And I just copied that URL from GitHub. So there we go. I have cloned an empty repository as expected. So I think the first thing I'll do is add the license file. Just copy that from the Gopher.js repo. Where is it? I do have that checked out locally, don't I? Oh, I'm in the wrong. No, I do, but I'm not here. So let me move this directory I just created into src where I thought I was putting it in the first place. Gopher.js. There, that's what I was looking for. Okay. Left and right are both equal. Great. Glad to hear it. Thank you. Now, I'm going to edit this file before I commit it because it has an old date, a 10-year-old date. Let's make 2023, and I'll put Jonathan Hall here. Oh, that's not my name. All right. Now, I've actually created a video on my channel, if you're interested, about bootstrapping a GitHub project like this. I'm going to be doing some of the same things. I'm going to not talk through all the detail, though. If you are interested in how I do that, I'll just share the link in the chat for anybody who's interested. But I'll put it in the show notes also for anybody watching the replay. Give me 1 second to find that. But I'm going to breeze through it here instead of talking through it in detail since I've already done that before. I don't want to, if you've already seen it, I don't want you to be bored. And you can always go back and watch that at any time. Here it is. I am a big advocate of practice. All right, so here's the link to that video. Anybody who wants to see more details and explanation about what I'm doing right now, that video will walk you through it. All right, so let's refresh this. Great. Now, kind of the point of that video is that I like to use continuous integration for everything. So I'm going to set that up first. Before I've written any code, I want to make sure that I have a CI pipeline in place. So I will do that next. Well, I think I just did. I just edited that license file on a screen you couldn't see. So I apologize for that. It wasn't a big deal, but I just changed that to that. Sorry, I was on the wrong screen. Let me close this out and open up a fresh editor tab in the right screen. All right, so let's do some CI configuration. Is it workflows or workflow? I never remember. Check one of my other projects where I'm using GitHub Actions. I guess Gopher.js is a good example of that. Workflows. Let me zoom in here so that's easier to read. All right. In fact, I can probably just copy some of this to there. Yeah, I'll copy the lint. In fact, this is the lint file I created in the first live stream. So I'm going to copy that same one over to this new project. Copy. All right, and then I also want to copy the linter configuration. Sorry, Gopher.js, GitHub. Oh, I'm in the wrong. I don't want. Live coding is always a pain. You make these silly mistakes, right? There's the one I want. Okay. Now, actually, this linter config is very minimal. It's more minimal than the one I created in the first live stream because I haven't merged the whole thing yet. I think this only enables 2 linters. Let me open it and just verify. Yeah, most of it's commented out. It enables actually only 1, apparently. That can't be right. That must be a working copy out in here. Let me check that out. Yeah, I'm in the wrong branch. Just commit this as work in progress. Come back later. Master. Let's try that copy again. All right, that's what I expected. There's a very, very minimal linter configuration. I actually want a lot more than that, but I don't have any code yet to lint. So my real purpose right now is just to make sure that the linter is running for every pull request, and then I want to run some tests for every pull request too. So let me create that job, and we'll commit that. So let's create one just called test.yaml. Now I'm going to copy this from another project, from a work project. So I'm not going to show it on the screen since there's theoretically private information in these repositories. But I'll show you the config file I'm doing. I'm just not going to show you as I find that file for that reason, to protect any privacy concerns with the company I'm working for. Hmm. Make sure that this all looks appropriate. Yeah, I think there's nothing in here. Oh, there's one little bit I can delete before I share it with you. Two bits I can delete. All right. So here is the. Don't actually need this for this project either. So this is a minimal GitHub Actions configuration to run tests on Go. Let me update this with a new version of Go out now. So it does the checkout, it installs Go version 1.20.5, and then it runs Go build and Go test -- race. The reason I do Go build first before test is it's kind of nice to see any compilation errors if there's some broken code somewhere. It's nice to see that in isolation. Go test will generally catch that too. There are exceptions, I'll explain that. But even when Go test catches it, the output is a little bit harder to read. So I like to do the Go build first because the output is a little bit easier to understand if there's a compilation failure. And sometimes Go test won't catch a compilation failure if it's a package that has no tests. So if you have any packages with no tests, this will also catch that, whereas Go test wouldn't necessarily catch that. So that's why I have 2 steps there for anybody wondering. So let's go ahead and commit these changes I've made here. I don't need this environment variable either. That doesn't matter for this project. So let's save that. What's missing here? All right. So I'm adding 3 files: lint.yaml, test.yaml, and Golang CI toml configuration. So that should be enough to get our CI pipeline working. We will expand this, especially the linter rules, as we make progress. But this is enough just to get started. Let's push that to main. Now we hop over here again. Let's refresh, and we'll see those files are there. Now I want to lock down this repository to enforce that CI pipelines are run. So let's do that quickly. Here I can enable, a lot of this I can change later, but let's just see if anything here matters. I kind of want to copy the same stuff we have for Gopher.js. So let me see what they have, or I should say we. I'm one of the maintainers, but I want to make sure we have the same thing there. There are some exceptions. I probably don't need wikis here, although maybe that's useful. I'll leave it off for the moment. We can always turn it on later. So we have all three options turned on here. I guess I'll leave that on here as well. What else do we have? Allow auto merge. That's kind of nice, but it's not enabled for some reason. Automatically delete head branches. That's an important one. Otherwise, you end up with a whole bunch of stale branches sticking around forever. I don't know why allow auto merge isn't on, but I don't really care. It's not the point of today's video, so I'm going to just leave that alone. Okay, so that's all we need there. And then the real important stuff is under branches. So let's go there. So here I can add a protection rule. I want to protect main. The other one uses one called master. Doesn't matter what they're called. And I want to basically copy the same requirements. Require a pull request before merging. Now, you know what? I'm going to require a pull request before merging, but I'm not going to require approvals yet. Since I'm the only person working on this project at the moment, once it reaches a certain point of stability and my co-maintainer is involved, then we'll probably want to review each other's code. But I don't want to slow myself down by having to wait for him to approve every little change I make, which will probably take 24 to 48 hours each time. So I'm going to turn that off for the moment, but I'll turn it back on once this starts to reach a maturity level, assuming it ever does. Require status checks to pass. That's the most important part here because that's what requires that CI pipeline is green, that the linter doesn't fail and the tests pass before I can merge. Require branches to be up to date. That's usually a good idea, but I'm not going to enable it here because it's not enabled on Gopher.js. What else do we have? Require conversations resolved. Yes, I'll enable that one. I guess that's about it. So I'll go ahead and create that. This could be a lot stricter, but it's what we have. Just out of an abundance of caution, I'm going to move this to another window before I put my password in. I know that you can't see what I'm typing, but all right. My branch is, what does it mean not enforced? Oh, it won't actually enforce this for the moment. That's kind of annoying. Does it do that on Gopher.js branch? I don't see that happening here. I don't know why. I'm really curious about that. I wonder if I made a private repository for some reason or something like that. I have a bunch of different options here. That's curious to me, and I don't know why. It probably doesn't matter right now, but I'll try to figure that out later. I wonder if I created a private project. I don't even see where that option would be. Oh, here. It is private, apparently. Is that what that lock means? It must be. How do I change that now? Well, let's just Google. Danger zone. Okay. There we go. Change visibility. Change to public. Yes. All right. Now my branch rules are in place. Perfect. That's what I wanted. Okay. So now I won't be able to push to main directly. I'll have to create a pull request for each change I want to make. But that's what I want. So, all right. So let's get started writing some code. Now I like to use test-driven development, so I'm going to try to do that for this project. TDD is a little bit difficult when you're doing something brand new. Of course, I have a little bit of an idea of what I'm doing since I did the tutorial last 2 weeks ago. So hopefully that gives me enough direction to do some TDD today. The first decision I have to make is where I want my main package to go. And I think in this case, I want it to be in the root of the project. It could go under /cmd/gopher.js vet, but since I'm only going to create a single executable, I think it makes sense for it to be in the root level directory. So I'll just start by creating my main package. Let me just pull up my editor here. And I'll start by creating 2 files, main.go and main_test.go, since I'm going to be doing TDD. And the way I like to do this is I like to use a split screen when I'm writing my code. I have usually my code on the left-hand side of my screen and the test on the right-hand side. Of course, we need a main function. There's technically the smallest possible Go program you could have. What is it complaining about? Oh, I need to first create a module, of course. Oh, I'm in the wrong directory anyway. So let me remove those 2 files I just created, main.go and main_test.go, and let's move back up a level here and do go mod init. And I know the path to this thing is going to be github.com/gopher.js. Let's gopher.js vet. So we'll do that. Go mod tidy. Now we should have a new go.mod file. Now, actually, I should change this to use Go version 1.17 because Gopher.js doesn't yet support generics. So I don't want somebody... It shouldn't really matter for this as long as I don't use generics in this code, but just for compatibility's sake, I'm going to stick with the latest version of Go that Gopher.js fully supports, just so there's no surprises. So I'm going to change this. I think this is the syntax. No, it's not. So help mod edit. How do I set the version? I think Google is going to be easier for this one. Oh, here's a... No. I've done this a few times. I should remember it, because every time I upgrade to a new version of Go, I have to do this, but I don't always remember. Go mod edit. Oh, mine is Go. Okay. Go mod edit minus Go equals 1.7. All right, there we go. Let's add this. Git add go.mod. All right. Now let's add that main in main test file. Okay, I can close these things I don't care about right now, and now I'll do what I was trying to do in the wrong directory before. Package main, func main, package main. All right, so now since I'm kind of trying to mimic this after go vet, let's see what happens if I run go vet with no arguments. Nothing happens. Okay, so I want the same to happen here. It already does technically. If I do go run here, nothing happens, but I suppose it's not really worth running a test for that since it's already happening and it's kind of the default. Okay, let's start with this. If I run Gopher.js vet with an invalid trying to figure out where I want to start my functionality. Well, I suppose that's a good place to start as any. So let's call this invalid package. So I'm going to create a test for what it does when I invoke it with an invalid package. So it should call main, and the output. Now I need to remember exactly how this works. So let's look up how to do Go examples. Executable examples be quicker. Executable examples. If you're not familiar with what I'm doing here, no, it's a post by John Arundel. He and I have had a couple chats before. He's a nice guy. But I don't there. This is all I needed. I wanted to see this. So basically, if you have, you can create tests. This is the simplest possible test you can create in Go is what's called an executable example. And so here, well, I'll just show you what I'm doing. But basically, I can put this output and then tell it what I want the output to be. And I want it to be, well, in this case, I want the output to be nothing. Let's see if this works. Why is it complaining? Okay, now it's working. Let's see if that works. Go test. You need to tell it to run the executable examples, right? Go test. Maybe not. Okay, it ran. Okay, so it's working. So this doesn't give me a lot of flexibility to do tests, but at least I know that when I call Go for JS vet with no arguments, it produces no output. So which is what Go vet does. So let me add a. No, I don't know. I should rename this. No. So anyway, I was trying to explain what this does. Let me finish that before I chase my other rabbit trains of thought here. So what I do here is I specify output and then whatever's on the next lines. Let me just put something here random to show it failing. Is what output it expects to have. So it compares this output to the actual output of calling main. So here you can see now that I've added that random nonsense there, it wanted the output SDFG, but it got nothing. So it failed. Now in this case, I actually wanted to do nothing, and now it's passing. So it's like literally the simplest possible unit test you could have in Go. And it's one way you can test the main function, which is something that is kind of difficult to do and otherwise because there's no inputs or outputs, right? It's just this. Now that does mean that I don't really want to do a lot of tests around main. So probably I want to have main call something else. Now I have a decision to make here. The standard Go vet tool and all the standard tools in the Go toolchain use a different library than what Go4JS uses. So I have to decide, do I want to be consistent with Go or with Go4JS? And although I wish that Go4JS used the same as Go, so I would be tempted to use the same as Go and not Go4JS, I'll probably go with Go4JS for consistency within the Go4JS ecosystem. And so specifically what I mean, let me pull up the Go doc for what I'm talking about. I think it's just the flags package. Yeah, flag. So Go uses the flag package to parse and interpret command line arguments. Go4JS uses the arguably nicer pflag package, which does POSIX style flags, which gives you the minus minus. And if you're familiar with POSIX arguments versus, I don't even know what the Go standard ones are. POSIX is a little more common, and I like it better, and that's what Go4JS uses. So I'm going to do the same, even though it's maybe arguably less consistent with Go itself, but at least it's consistent with Go4JS. So let's see, how do I want to start here? Let's look at what Go that has as far as arguments and that it supports. It supports a few of these things. So we could start somewhere. I suppose the easiest place to start, though, is with just parsing the package name, right? All right. So what I want to do is Actually, I probably want to use Cobra. I think that's what Gopher.js uses. So it's by the same maker, the same author. So we're going to use Cobra to do our command line stuff. And it's been a while since I've done this, so I have to remember how it all works. But we need our root command. So I'm going to create a file called cmd.go. I'm going to keep this thing as part of the main package. And I should probably create a cmd test to go with it. All right. I think I'm going to look at the Gopher.js source as an inspiration here. Because as I said, I think it uses Cobra already. And if it doesn't, I want to use whatever it's using anyway. I think it's under. I'm confused now where it is. Is it under compiler? No. Build. I thought there was a directory called tool, and I'm not finding it right now. Oh, it's tool.go. Here we go. This is the main. Okay. There's a bunch of flag parsing here. So there is the main command. I suppose I could do this. No, I don't want to do it. So here, so this one here does all this setup in main, and I don't like that approach because it can't easily be tested, as I was just discussing. So I'm going to put this stuff in a different function that's easier to test, and then we can call it from main. So I'm going to put that in the cmd file. Let's just make a function called root cmd that returns a cobra.command. I think that's the right type. For now, I'll have it return nil. Okay, so now it's importing the right thing. I need to go get that so that it's in my Go mod. All right, now that red line should go away. Now let's create a simple test. If you've ever written tests in Go, you're probably more familiar with this than with the example I did before. This is a more common style of test. It's a lot more flexible, of course, than the example that just tests for standard error and standard output. Now, so we could just copy something like this, right? Now, here's an interesting thing I had just realized. So there's not actually a Go vet tool as a single word, right? It's part of the Go tool. So I'm actually kind of doing this wrong. And maybe that's a good thing, because that means I can move some of this complexity. Like maybe I don't even need Cobra in this package at all. Maybe I only need that. So let me talk a little bit about architecture, what I have in mind. So what I hope to accomplish today, or maybe with this project starting today, is to have a library that can do Gopher.js vetting that can be included in Golang CI lint. And I'll create a pull request for that eventually to have that included in Golang CI lint. So that's one goal. In fact, that's my primary goal. Second, I want to be able to install and run Gopher.js vet as a standalone tool. Maybe. And third, I want the Gopher.js tool itself. So you can run Gopher.js and it gives you some output, which is the Gopher.js equivalent of Go. So when you can type Go vet, I want you to be able to type Gopher.js vet. That particular thing is what I was thinking about building right now. However, that doesn't belong in this repository. That belongs in the Gopher.js repository, which would then depend on this one. So what I'm thinking about right now is just skipping the whole command line interpretation stuff entirely for the moment and building the library. And then once I have at least the basics of the library, I'll go back and add this capability in the Gopher.js repository. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to discard some of the work I just did. I mean, work is an overstatement. Some of these skeleton files I created. So I'm going to get rid of this CMD and CMD test. And we're not going to do that. I'm going to leave, I don't even need main.go. I'm going to delete that too. I'm going to start over from scratch here. Move, go.sum. And we're going to build a library to do that, okay? Now, I have to figure out where I'm going to put the library code. And I don't want that in the root directory because I still may want to put a Gopher.js vet with no space tool here. At the very least, maybe just for basic testing. I'll figure that out later. And it needs to be importable. This library needs to be importable by other things. So I need to think of a place to put that. Let me see how the Go vet tool does that, if that's all in its own repository. It probably is. It's probably part of this one. Yeah, looks like all the tools are under src slash something. So this one's going to be src slash. Is there a vet directory here? There's not. Oh, this is a standard library. That makes sense. So that's why that's there. I don't know where the source code for Go vet lives. It's apparently not here. This is all a standard library. All right. Maybe if I go to the here, I can find it. Just search this for vet. Zero repositories. So I don't know where the Go vet source code lives. That's interesting. Kind of want to look at it as an example. And I would expect it to be in the same repository, but I'm not finding it. Well, let's see if Google can help me. Go vet source. Oh, okay. It's under src, and then there's a cmd folder. Okay. And then vet. Well, vet is mostly just calls other code. Yeah, it does. All these different checkers that are called under Go analysis. Okay. So, well, why don't I create a directory called analysis? That seems like a reasonable thing, a reasonable name. I'm glad I looked there. And then they have different different passes. So these aren't actually part of the standard library, part of X, but that's okay. Analysis passes, and then I wonder what else is under the analysis directory. Some testing, multi-checker. The main thing is passes. Let's copy the same directory structure. Analysis passes. So if we go back to my original issue that I filed, where did that go? It's long since not in history anymore. Here. So I have a number of different things I want to check for, half dozen or 10 or something. So probably I'll put each one of those in its own passes directory. It looks like the way GoVet works. So I'll try to mimic the same sort of structure layout. Let's just look at one of these and see how it looks. Yeah, it looks like a very simple package. Let's look at the source code. Okay, so I'm going to do something similar. If I can unlose my place here. I think I just closed the wrong window. All right, so let's come up with a name for my first pass. So let me explain what this is. I want to complain about direct usage of JS object and pointer to JS object. So let me explain what that means based on the document I was looking at earlier. So it says, do not use items or fields of type JS.object. So JS.object, or pointer to JS.object, is how you reference a JavaScript object as a Go object. And they're intended to be embedded in type of a struct. So if it's not embedded, that's a failure. So that is what this first check should check for. So let's come up with a name. Direct JS object, perhaps. Sounds good. And I'm curious, in the original vet, what kind of name? So they name their pass after the directory. So I'll do the same here. Touch direct JS object. Maybe you can shorten that. No, I like leaving it long. I was thinking about calling it just direct object or something like that, but I like it being explicit even if it's 2 extra characters. All right, so hopefully there's will be actual files that make it to our project. So I need to write a failing test. Now, if we'll recall from 2 weeks ago, we can do that with this tool here. So we basically write a test like this. Just copy and paste this one. Now, I'll stick with the test all, but I want it to be different. No, hang on. I'm trying to remember. Did it read a separate file? Yes, it read test data from a different file. How do they do that in the standard one here? I think the tests were kept in a different package here. I think that was one of these analysis test, yeah. I'm not sure why they chose to do it this way. I'm sure there's a good reason, but I have to decide if I care enough to understand that reason or just do what the tutorial taught me last week. I think I'm going to go with what the tutorial taught, and maybe you'll regret it, but it's a place to start. So where was that tutorial tab again? Here it is. So they had me put test data in a separate thing. I'm going to keep my test data. I don't like keeping test data at the top level. I think I talked about this 2 weeks ago when I was recording. I'm going to put it in the same directory as where I'm writing my tests, so right here. And then, except I do recall now, I had a reason that I didn't do that. Because I tried to do that and it failed. And it had to do with the way this test data thing was being read. Oh, right. This analyzer required it to be there so it could do package resolution correctly. So I guess I'll stick with that pattern, even though I think it's a little bit sloppy. I think that's the right number of directories up. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that should be right. Okay, code, test data. And I guess I'll call this, let me see. Let's call it p.go. Yeah, I think I'll name it after the rule I'm doing. So direct JS object.go. Now this p.go, what did it look like? Yeah, okay. Package direct JS object. So what I first want to do is create an example of this that is broken, right? That the linter will complain about. So let's do func direct JS object, and then say var x equals js.object. Just do that. It should look like valid code that the linter should complain about. So let's make this match. This should be called direct.js object. And I'll need to go mod and tidy to download this dependency. All right. Tests are running. They should fail, I think. What's this complaining about? I'm not sure. Undefined analyzer. What? How did I just imported that? Did I not? All right. What did I miss? What step did I skip here? Oh, analyzer is supposed to be imported, created by the other file I haven't created yet, right? I think this is supposed to be a separate package. And then this is meant to do this, I think. Let me compare that with the official that. Yeah, they're using the same pattern. Okay, so that makes sense. Wait a minute. No. Yeah, that's right. So I need to do the same thing here. Copy this into this package. So I have a test. It's failing. But that's what the test is supposed to do when you start with, okay? So that's fine. All right, so now let's see how things are going. So now the test is complaining about something. Why can it not import that? Because it's broken. That makes sense. Why is it broken? So I don't know what this doc string. Oh, I do understand that kind of. So there's specific documentation for each analyzer apparently. That's not what I want. So I've got a nice comment here. I don't separate I think you mean the test data from the trust data from the test data due to possible circular references. So the test data introduces some package. Yeah, okay. Not sure if I completely follow by the trust data from the test data. Certainly you can have circular references if you're not careful. That's true. Okay, I'm trying to find. Here, this is what I'm trying to find. So we saw this doc. I want to see what's in there. That doesn't make sense. Why is it trying to include that? So what's happening here is this var doc string is embedding this doc.go file. But why? So it's extracting. So there's this extraction thing that extracts a snippet. Apparently this part or this part. I don't know why they chose to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do mine inline. It seems a little bit simpler. So I'm going to just say the name here is direct.js object doc. I'm curious here where that doc is used. Let's see, go help vet. If I can get it to output that stuff here. I don't know where that doc actually goes, where it will be outputted. Okay, so clarification in the comment here. Try to keep the test data separate from the test. So the test data directory itself, if that's what you're talking about, should never represent a circular dependency, because it's not part of executable Go code. If what you mean is, that's not the right window. If you mean this versus this, then yes, there's some definite benefits there. By keeping it in a separate package like this, which is what the underscore test does in the package name, it's a separate package from this one, and you can avoid some circular dependencies. So that's probably what you're talking about, and I agree with that. There are times when it's appropriate to do your tests within the same package if you're testing some internal implementation detail, although there are reasons not to want to do that also. But so by doing it this way, we're effectively doing black box testing. So we're testing the public API of this package rather than the internals, which is actually what we want, and it's completely appropriate in this case, I believe. So now I don't know. Maybe I'll just put some dummy doc in here for right now. I can definitely put a URL though. We have a URL to the wiki, which is here. I guess I don't know if I can link to that specific bit, so I'll just put the whole page there. We don't have a run package yet, that's okay. I don't remember what this does. I think we talked about that 2 weeks ago. I'll try to investigate again. But right now I want to put some doc here, at least explain the basics of what it does. How was the other one worded? I want to use a similar sort of wording. Check for useless assignments. This checker reports assignments. So I am still curious what this extract thing does. That's part of a, maybe I should do the same thing. That's part of their library here. Oh, I can't use it. It's an internal package. Never mind. I can't use that anyway. All right. So I'll just keep doing what I was about to do. I am still curious though how it works. I wish that the link worked there, but I don't care that much right now. No, I'm just going to leave it like that. I can always go back and change documentation later. Next, we want the run command. Well, not command, but function. And that's the heart of the thing. So let's copy this line. And for now, return nil, just to see if the code compiles, and it should. And the tests, I hope, fail. Okay, they did fail. No such file directory. That's not what I expected, but okay, let's figure that out. Just looking for something called analysis test data. Is that expected? No, I don't think it is. So I think I didn't parse the directories enough. So I think I went up. I think this actually goes up one directory level. I need to go up 2 apparently. Let's try that. It's going to be ugly. Apparently I'm moving too much, my mouth around. I need to get a different microphone apparently. Sorry, I'll try to keep my mouth here. Okay, we got a different error. So that solved that problem. And now we're getting an error, probably more like what I expected. Let me see, what does it say here? Error analyzing direct JS object. Now let's skip to the errors in package. Can't find package. Okay. I don't understand what's happening here. Cannot find package in any of. Is looking at an SRC. Oh, I know it's wrong. I didn't quite copy this tutorial quite perfectly enough. It expects an SRC, and then okay. Let me fix that. I don't like that arrangement, but we'll go with it anyway. That should solve that problem. Let's see. It did solve that problem, but now we have a different problem. That's good. Different problems are good. Now it says it cannot import Gopher.js, and I think it's because I forgot to do a go get. Let's see now if it passes. Still says it can't get it. Invalid package name. What are you talking about? I'm going to look at it on this console, see if it's a little clearer. Probably not. Cannot find package name. I wonder if I have to tell this analysis about certain dependencies. Like it's not smart enough to just read the import statements. I'm confused. What is failing here? Do I need to have that installed as a dependency somehow there? It's looking in user local blah blah blah, yeah, and it's looking in all right. Need to do some more reading here. I'm going to try to pull this up on pkg.go.dev where it's easier to read. And the package is go/analysis. An analysis test. Test data returns the effective. Let me zoom in so it's easier to read here. Package facts are specified by the name package and appear on line 1 of the first source file of the package. A single want comment may contain a mixture of diagnostic and facts. Okay, I don't really care about that yet. I mean, I will, but I want to just figure out how to get this thing to successfully compile. Maybe I need to look at some examples. Let me do that. So let's go up a few directory levels here. Test data. Oh, that's okay, so there test data is in a better place than I thought. So I want to make a mental note of that and fix that. But first, I want to figure out what's going on here right now. Well, okay. What I want to find is an example of a test that imports something that's not in the standard library. That may not exist here. I might have to look at Golang CI lint for that. See if they have examples of that. That's not useful. Obviously, I'm just guessing. I'm trying to find where all these linters are defined instead of actually looking it up somewhere. I bet we're getting close now. Well, this tutorial told me how to create pull requests, so let's go look at that and see where this stuff goes. Test data. So that's what I want to look for, is test data. Let's find some examples here. That import stuff that's not in the standard library. They're just importing. I don't know why I can't import this thing. So I don't understand at all why gopher.js cannot be imported. Invalid package name. What does that even mean? Certainly I don't need to specify a package name myself. That would be very unusual. Like that? Surely not. No, that's not it. It's the same problem. And why is this complaining? I'm so confused. Direct object. So this is the correct path, right? Could not import gopher.js invalid package name. Quote. We're going to try this. Is that going to solve it? No. Well, I had an obvious typo there, but it didn't solve the problem. Why can it not import that? I wonder if Okay, this is listed as indirect. Maybe that's the problem. Let me try adding the same thing here as a blank import and see if that makes it happy. And now it's listed as a direct import. Let's see. No, that didn't solve it either. And when all else fails, try Google, right? Golang, go analysis, test. Could not import blah. Invalid package name. So someone else has had the same problem. That's a good sign. Tried the same project on another Windows machine and it works fine. They'll probably go version 1.12, which sounds like back before modules were probably being used. Go 11 module on. Doesn't seem like anybody's really properly solved it. Let's try go mod vendor. Don't think that'll solve it. And if it does, it's stupid. But let's see. No, it didn't solve it. The only other thing I can think of so far is to try changing the location of those test packages to match how GoVet does it. Need to remember how that looked. So here we go. So it's under assign. Okay, let's put test data here. And then let's try getting rid of that extra file path bit I did earlier and see if it finds the right files now. No, it doesn't. Why not? Assign test. This is quite different than what I'm using. So they're using completely different. Let me try their thing. Comment that out. Try this instead. I don't know what this type params is. Oh, that's a different test. I don't care about that. Well, we're back to the original problem. At least the tests are organized in a way I'd prefer, so we'll get rid of that other one. Let me add what I have so far. Even though it's failing, at least I have my code committed now. Let's go back to Google and see if I can find any other hits about this problem that might give me some clues. I don't think Go 111 module does anything anymore in Go 120, but let's try turning it on and see what happens. Yeah, nothing. Not surprised. What a confusing problem. So what it looks like to me is that this analysis tool is using old school Go path resolution and not reading modules, which it kind of makes sense because that's kind of what the Go doc seems to suggest. When we read, where was it? I don't remember what I was reading. Was it? Yeah, here. When we read about run, it loads the packages from the specified Go path style project directory using blah, blah, blah. Runs analysis on them. Does that mean I need that dependency vendor within that path maybe? As you can see, it's looking in user local Go, which is where Go is installed on my system. And it also looks in this path. Maybe I need to vendor it into there. That seems strange, but maybe that's what I need to do. Let's try it. Seems pretty heavy-handed, but maybe it's what I need to do. So actually, I don't want to vendor the whole thing. I think I only need that single package. So let me just do this. P github.com/gopherjs, gopherjs. So what this file does is it provides sort of the API, part of the API, to interact between GoLand and JavaScript land. Not GoLand, the IDE, but the runtime of Go. And there should be a single file. There's two files here, but I think the only one I care about is this one. So let me look at the, oh, I could just download it here. Let's do that. All right, let's see if that makes things magically happy. Of course not. I'm going to make sure I put it in the right path. Well, that's actually a different error, isn't it? Could not import invalid package name, quote, quote. Actually, I have an idea what might be wrong here. I think I figured it out. And this is annoying, but Well, maybe not. Why does it say invalid package name? Getting hits for Java. I don't care about that. This isn't quite as riveting of a live stream as I was hoping for. Oh my goodness, I don't have any idea here. So I wondered if the problem was build tags. I wondered if this was guarded by a JS build tag, but it's not. I don't see any build tags here at all. So that can't explain it. There probably should be build tags there, but there aren't. Build tag meaning it should only build when targeting a JS architecture. But that's not there, so that can't be the problem. I am stuck. What do I do next? I don't think I need this with suggested fixes, but I don't think it also matters for this. I think it's going to fail exactly the same way. I'm so confused. Is it time to start digging into the source code of this thing and see what it does? Need to go package skips if the go/packages driver or go tool implied by the current process environment is not present in the path. Okay. Load packages uses go packages to load a specified package. There's a typo in there. Load a specified packages from source of dependencies from dir, which is in the root of go-path style. This looks like it's related to where we're going. Do not print errors of the analyzer. Okay. So it explicitly turns Go modules off and Go proxy off. Loads and returns the Go packages named by a given patterns. Okay. Where do those patterns come from? Is that one of the arguments? It is. Okay. So that's actually the test package itself, which or the package I'm testing. That's this thing. So that's a different version of it. So it's loading this package. That's what this is loading. What are these external drivers it's talking about? That's interesting. Maybe that's my missing piece, huh? Is that what this analyzer thing is about? Nope, that's not what that is. That's my thing. I don't know what it means by drivers. I'm so confused here. After 2 weeks ago, I thought this was going to be easy. Turns out it's not quite as easy as I expected. There's more magic here than meets the eye. All right, what does find external driver do? Find external driver returns the file path of a tool that supplies a build system package structure, or quote quote if not found. Okay. So how does this go packages driver thing work? There's got to be some documentation I haven't come across yet that explains all this. Package analysis defines the interface between a modular static analysis and an analysis driver program. I don't think that's the same driver I'm looking for, but let's see. Let me just search for this go package driver thing and see what I find. Oh. There's currently no documentation that shows up on godoc.org for go packages driver environment variable. However, it's very useful for alternating build systems to provide lookups for go PLS for the tools. It would be nice to have some documentation. As of 2019, they say it's appropriate to add documentation, but apparently they haven't done that yet. So it's a tool, go packages driver? Go packages driver? I don't know what this is. Oh, this is part of something from Bazel. That's not what I want. All right, I think that's a dead end, at least for the moment. However, the fact that this returns quote quote is telling. Maybe that's what's screwing me up here. Go back to this. Let's assume that it's using the default driver, whatever that is, that it's getting a valid driver. Let's see if refine explains anything. Refine connects the supplied package into a graph and then adds type and syntax information as requested by the load mode. It's a double and there. I might have to fork this library to put some debugging code in here to see what's going on. It's not making any sense to me yet. I guess that's my next step. I can't think of what else to do next, so I will do that. So let's find where this is hosted and create a fork of it here. Here's the repository. I'm looking for the clone link to clone this from GitHub. What is your first PL? I'm not sure I understand the question. Can you elaborate? There's got to be a way to clone this here. I'll do this a different way. Now I have a copy there, so I'm going to do this. And programming language. My first programming language was Commodore 64 Basic. Yeah, I could edit it in the PKG folder, but that means I need to give it myself root access to do that. I don't like to do that. So what I've done is I've downloaded, I did a go mod vendor to download all my dependencies into the vendor package. I copied that one somewhere else, deleted the vendor package now, and then I set up go.mod with a redirect or a replace directive. So it's using my local version rather than the official one. So now I can hack that local version as much as I want and add some debugging or whatever I want to. So I'm going to try to do that. So now if we open this, it says no definition. That's not what I want. Let me just reopen my editor in case it needs to refresh stuff. Still not finding it. What's wrong here? A whole bunch of errors. I must have made a mistake somewhere. Oh, it doesn't have the go.mod file and stuff there. It doesn't. Apparently running go vendor doesn't get everything. Blah. That's not as useful as I was hoping for then. Let me try this again. Open bottom panel. Is that useful? No, not really. Links. Maybe that's useful. Not really. I want to clone this Git repository. Surely that's possible, right? Oh, there's a GitHub version of it. That'll work. All right, so I'm cloning the Git repo. Might be the wrong version, come to think of it. Let me see here. No, it looks like it's probably fine. Probably hasn't changed that much anyway. And then I want to delete the Git directory. Replace directory now. Replace golang.org/x/tools and tools. So I was using version 0.11 apparently, and I think this is version 0.12, but hopefully that doesn't make a difference. I guess we'll find out. Let's see how the editor handles this now. Yay! And it is in the right directory. Okay, so I can add all the debugging crap I want now. And I was looking at, actually I wanted to switch this to run because I think it's a simpler version. So I believe run and run with suggested fixes. The difference is that run just checks for errors and suggested fixes has the option to fix the errors. Some linters will let you automatically fix errors. I think that's the difference there. I prefer to test with what seems to me to be the simpler one, since it gives the same error. It seems like it's easier to debug that way. And then maybe I'll use the other one once I have things working. So let's see here. So let's just see. Well, actually, we can tell where the error is happening, right? Could not import package. So it's not apparently this one, because if it were, it would say loading first. It might be here. Just put a debug there. Foo. See if foo comes out. Foo. So this is where it's actually failing, is right here. No, that's not necessarily true. It's executing that, but that's not necessarily fair. Let's see what this does though. Okay. Well, okay. The easy way to test this then is to put debug here. Ugh. Let's see if we execute bar. We do. Okay, so it does get past that. I don't think it's failing here, but let's see. Well, if it was, it should easily say, right? Okay, so somehow I missed this here, but it says no Go files in this directory. I don't think that's true, but let's see. Where did I was certain that I had downloaded that thing. Did I put it in the wrong place? I did put it in the wrong place. Let's see if that fixes it. That did fix it. Okay. So it's really annoying that I have to essentially vendor that package here. I hate that. I hate that. But anyway, I got it working thanks to a silly typo, or I guess that's a typo to put it in the wrong directory. Oh my goodness. But I really hate that I have to do that. I hate that. I hate that. I'm just going to move that out of the way temporarily, and it should fail again. I so hate that. Well, I don't know the alternatives right now, but at least it's working. I'm gonna run with this, and maybe one morning in the shower I'll have a solution to solve this. But I'm gonna run with this. So let me undo my temporary hack. Just delete that thing. Delete vend. Should still be passing. It is. And that sort of partial vendored fork of, or not a fork really, but partially vendored library. Okay. So now I need to make the test fail. The test is passing now. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. The test is inappropriately passing now because it should be triggering. I can delete this commenter.code. It should be triggering a lint failure. All right, so this should fail, and I need to remember how to trigger that. And that was part of the documentation that I was skipping over earlier because it wasn't quite yet relevant. Wrong package. Don't care about that. Don't think I care about that right now. So where did it tell me about the little magical strings I could use? Something about want. Here we go. So I want this to fail here. What does that look like though? Maybe it's a good place for an example. Here we go. Okay, I want, and then I can put the error message I want. All right, so I need to decide now. This is one reason I like test-driven development is I get to decide what my API looks like before I bother trying to write it. So I want the error message to be something useful. I have this same file open in two windows. Let's just close one of these here in two tabs. Want must not use JS.object directly. No, that's not clear enough. I want to, let's say, JS.object must be embedded in a struct. I can clarify later, but let's do that. Now that should fail. Now, test failed. Good. Is it what I expected? Yes, that's exactly what I expected. Okay. So I'm going to commit this. First failing test for direct JS object rule. Now, let's see, we're almost through the 2 hours and we get to start writing the first interesting code. Really sorry about that. We'll pick this up again next week, or I will. Any of you who want to come along, of course, you're welcome. But now, let's see if we can actually write some logic here that tests this for us. All right, so I want to look at my tutorial again here. And here we go. feel like I need to jump ahead. Where was it? Was it here? No. This is close to where I want to be. As I wanted, oh, it was called Funk Run. Let's see where that. Whoops, Funk Run. Here, this is the example I want. If I could spell inspect equals func node ast.node bool. Okay. And then what do I do with that? Then I range over that. And then I return nil nil. Is that it? This needs to return something though. It needs to return true. Okay, so now it should be working again, but do nothing. Or still has the same failure because it's not triggering the error. Hey, Brian. All right. So now I have to start thinking about logic. Isn't that always a pain in the butt? So what I want to do is so in the example here, we're looking for function declarations. In my case, I'm looking for not function declarations, whatever type of declaration that type is. Now I don't know what the options are there, so let's see here. Oops, I hit the wrong button. So we can have different types of, so it's an interface, of course. Let's look at the Go doc for that package, for the Go AST package. And these should be, I think are they constants or variables or types? I'm not even sure where they are. Let's do func decl. Let's see what that, it's a type. Okay. So I'm looking for some other kind of type. It's not sure what kind of type it is because I'm not sure what all the options are. I mean, it's a struct. But I'm not sure if that's how it's going to be registered in the AST. Because if we just look at the source code for the thing, this is the thing. It's actually it's not even. It's just a variable declaration. So is that an option? No. So I think what I'll do is to start learning about this, have it just like print out what it sees. 50% T. Let's do that. It's going to output a whole bunch of nonsense, but we'll see what it looks like. Or maybe nothing. It does nothing. Even better than what I thought. Do I need minus V? No, that doesn't help either. It's not even being executed. Oh, I have a pretty good idea why. Well, do I actually? No, I don't. So it should be running that, right? All right, let's try something else here. Oh, maybe because, no. Let's just see if this code's even being executed. It's not even being executed. I feel like I had a similar problem last week. Well, I bet I can get rid of this now. Maybe I should go back to the example, the run with, what was it called? Run with something. Run with suggested fixes. I don't think that'll make a difference, but we'll try it. No, still not panicking. So why isn't this being executed? That's confusing me. So confused. I'm going to simplify this a little bit, even though it's not shouldn't matter here. It just makes it a little bit easier to read. Where is this test data? What? Okay, I guess it's reading the right thing. This is referring to the right thing, right? Oh, it's not. It's calling the wrong test entirely. Ah, it's calling this package. Okay, so that explains why it's not working. Let's make it use the right test. GitHub.com/gopherjs. Gopher.js vet analysis passes direct JS object. And then let's do it like that. Now I'll bet it'll panic. Now it's panicking. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, there's more like what I expected. Dumping just a whole bunch of node names. Awesome, or node types at least. All right, so I'll bet you there's a name field or something like that somewhere. I don't know. Ba-da-ba-da. What happens if I just print the node? Does it give me a name or something useful to see? Gives me something. So what I'm trying to determine is what kind of node I'm looking for when I look for the underscore, or not underscore, the js.object. Trying to figure out what that's called when I assign a value to that. So here's where we have the import thing. That makes sense. So it's after there somewhere. Function type, that's where we define the function, I suppose. You know, I could simplify this. I just realized I could probably simplify this. I don't need this to be part of a function. I could just do like this, I think, and have the same lint failure, but have fewer nodes to look through. So here's the comment. Here, I think this is what I'm looking for, object. I'm getting close anyway. This is, here we go, JS object, selector expression, maybe. All right, I'm going to wrap up pretty quickly here, but I'm getting close to somewhere. So let's add a type assertion here. Switch to type case st dot selector exper. Let's see what that does for me here. I'm going to make this default. Let me make this a little more obvious when I get that one. Okay, so that's specifically the package name. Well, all right. So I think I'm going to finish for today because I don't think I'm going to get much more done in the next 5 minutes or so. But next week I'll pick up with trying to identify when JS.object is referenced and then triggering a failure. So thanks for sticking around. Sorry, I don't think this was nearly as fun as I was expecting it to be. I spent too much time going down that debugging rabbit hole. But hopefully somebody got something out of it. I'd love to hear from you if you have suggestions for another one of these. But unless I hear otherwise or have other great suggestions, I'll pick this up next week and do some more. So thanks for watching. Hope to see you around.